Okay guys, so as you just saw me, I started welding everything I could get to inside the car, just so it was structurally sound, none of the tacks broke, because now we are dropping the cage. Off camera, since it was a huge pain in the ass, these are our base plates. I removed them, just grind the tacks off, and this is what we're looking like right now. See, the front is just hanging, and I went and grind off all the tacks all the way around, so as you can see, the whole cage can move, okay? So now what we're going to do is, I'm going to try to, so I should be able just to be able to slide this entire thing forward. The fitment on this roof bar is really, really tight. So I was kind of worried about that, but it looks like the whole cage kind of slanted, which is great. So I'm basically just going to move the whole cage forward, as you'll see me do. And that was going to give me a ton of, it should give me enough room to get up here and weld. So I can weld everything. And then once that's done, we're going to push it back, fully weld everything in. And the cage should be fully welded into the car. So cage is fully welded in. Here's some of the welds, but yeah, that took forever. You guys probably saw the time lapse. Definitely a solid like hour or so, just straight welding. Ran out of wire, had to go get more wire at the store, whatever. But now since the cage moves, I just cleaned up the base plates, moved it back into place, and as I had before, I ground all that down to bare metal, so I threw some weld-through primer on there because there's going to be a gap for air to get to and everything. So that's all done. It's time to get the base plates again. I just hit the bottom with some weld-through primer as well. And we're going to toss these back in there and fully weld the cage to the car. All that's left is the intrusion bars, which I'll probably cover in the next episode. We'll see how long this one is, but yeah, well, it's came out pretty good. It was hard getting in these ones out here and everything, but turned out pretty good. Get some down there and everything. Welding down here is real thin, so it did get a little difficult. My welds weren't as pretty as I'd like them, but because they just want to blow through the floor, so you gotta be real careful with it. But on the tubes, everything turned out good. Everything's fully welded. I'm waiting to weld my steering mount until I finalize everything with the rack. So that's just something I'll finish up later, but it's just tacked on here right now at the right angle, I think. So yeah, I'll go to the back real quick, get you a back view. But looks pretty sick in there, if I would say so. It's all welded over here and here. And yeah, so the next thing is the anti-intrusion bars. Like I said, we're gonna make another plate over there and just strengthen up the chassis right there a little bit. They're gonna follow, these two bars are gonna follow right to one point right there. So it's not too hard, pretty simple. And then that will fully wrap up the cage. So
the next day.
okay, so today we're working on gussets. If you don't know what those are basically those plates that you see in cages with like the dimple dies in them that a lot of people think look pretty cool. They help basically attach the chassis to the cage itself to just help rigid everything up. There's people that have said like if your cage doesn't really isn't attached to the chassis at all in any spot, the chassis can actually flex from the cage, like if you're going up a hill or something, and you kind of notice it. So it's pretty important to at least get it touching in some spot. My cage actually touches the chassis in some spots where it's welded, which is actually great, and I wouldn't even technically need these as much, but I think it looks pretty cool, and it also does add some extra rigidity to the cage. So what I did was took a ton of time, but I used a piece of paper, made a little template here, and trying to throw it in here one-handed for you, but yeah, it goes around here and it's welded up here and here, just little stitch welds, and that's what's gonna attach it. So basically, after I made my template here, I went and I took it over to my 20 gauge steel that I'm using for this, drew it out, and now I'm gonna cut it out. Then we'll get it in there fitting all tight. Then I'm gonna mark every, I'll have to set up the increments, but I think I'm gonna use a 1-inch dimple die and do a ton of dimple dies here, make it look cool, and we'll tack it in. So you'll see how that goes, and then we're gonna repeat the process for the other side, and we should have a pretty sick looking windshield part of our cage. And then I think also, just because I might make one for here too as well, just on both sides, just a tiny one here, and that will probably be it for the dimple dies that I'm gonna do on this cage. But yeah, another important thing is you wanna throw your dash in before you do this, so you can see like the proper like distance, because you don't want to have it like stop right here and look stupid. So you want it to basically come down here and meet up real good. So yeah. Okay guys, so I just got to cut out and flap this down, and fits real good, real tight. I'm gonna have to like clamp this to get it to fit real good, but once it's welded, we'll be fine. The next thing I did was I just kind of got a rough estimate of like, since the body curves, it's kind of hard to like judge where to keep all the dimple dies in like the same row. So I just did a couple dots, and just I'm gonna trace this line, just make a line, and then from there I will make like measure everything out and get like the proper distance between them all, and dimple die it. But that's just gonna give me like, you know, it just looks visually appealing just having it all follow kind of the same flow. So that's what I did there. Time to measure this thing out, make some measurements on it and mark it out, and then we'll put it in the press and dimple die it. In there, it looks pretty good. It's not tacked or anything, just sitting there. Obviously it's got to be like pushed down and stuff to weld, but yeah, I'm super stoked. I think it looks sick, and it's gonna brace the chassis up. So that's without the gusset, that's with the gusset. Definitely adds a little bit, especially when you get the windshield in there. It'll look pretty cool. Here's it from the back, and fits good. So next is the other side. We're gonna tackle that. We will get that all wrapped up and that in there, and then I'll probably weld them in next. All right, what's going on, guys? I basically off camera got the second gusset done. It's the exact same process, so I didn't really feel the need to film it, and I didn't get a video of me welding in the driver gusset, but I'll show you how it turned out. This is the driver gusset, just kind of stitch weld. It's all you really need. Anything more is kind of excessive in my opinion. But I got that all stitch welded in. It's nice and sturdy, and it's gonna stay there. Over here's the passenger one, just in place yet. I haven't welded this one yet, but yeah, it's the exact same thing. from out here. It looks pretty uniform and pretty good in my opinion. So I can't wait to also get that one in there as well. Welding the gussets. They're completely done. Came out great. Just a look at it. They both look pretty uniform and good. I'm super happy with it, and I love the look. I'm probably going to save the rear gussets I was talking about to the next episode, just so there's a little bit more in that, and this one doesn't go too long. But yeah, this is pretty much wraps up the main stuff for the cage. I have in the next episode I'll be working on the Anti-Intrusion Bars, so if you're into that, watch that, and I'll have the gussets, and that will wrap up the cage. And then if you still want to see some stuff, I am in the process of tubing the rear end as well. It's all cut out right now, and it kind of looks a little scary, but I'll make sure it comes back and looks all good. So I filmed all that in another episode, which I'll make too. But yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Hopefully I can help you out, and hopefully you seeing me do this helps you out. So thank you.